Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Saurabh Sadbhai and it's my pleasure to introduce our next keynote, Mr. Debashish Roy, Chief Digital Transformation Officer at CEAT Limited. Debashish Son has a growth-driven transformation leader with nearly 2 decades of experience helping organizations turn disruption into opportunity. At CEAT, he is driving a bold vision, embedding artificial intelligence, data, and automation at the core of business, transforming it from traditional manufacturer to the tech-driven, customer-focused leader in sustainable mobility. With global experience across North America, Europe, and Asia, he has led large-scale transformation programs for Fortune 500 organizations, building culture of innovation, agility, measurable business impact. Before CEAT, he played a pivotal role at Pfizer Limited as a Director of Digital Transformation and Customer Experience and has held leadership position at Abbott Healthcare, PwC US Advisory, and Cognizant. An engineer by training and alumnus of IIM Mumbai, Debashish Son brings deep expertise across digital strategy, analytics, customer experience, and new business models. His contributions have been widely recognized with the prestigious honors, including India's C-Suite Titan Award, CIO 100, Evangelist 100, and Leading CIO of the Year by CII. Today, he brings a powerful perspective on how organizations can integrate AI with business strategy to drive real sustainable transformation. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me welcoming Mr. Debashish Roy.
Good morning. Thank you so much for the warm welcome and thanks to Kaizen Institute for having me here. Really feels great. This city is always welcoming. I spent like close to 7 years in this city. So on that note, I think thanks you, sir. I think you made my job easy. You laid the foundations right. So what I will do in the next 20 to 25 minutes is on the construct or the principles that sir rightly mentioned, right, in terms of Kaizen, in terms of the value that Kaizen plus the digital transformation really brings in, right? I'll give examples of that as to how in CEAT, which is a demi-grand company, only demi-grand company, tire company in the world, we have 2 lighthouse factories, right? How we are implementing Kaizen in our day-to-day operations, factory operations, on shop floor, at headquarters. I'll give a few examples and happy to answer any questions that you have. So the next 20 minutes, please feel free to make this session more interactive, help me keep you guys entertained, right? Not early morning, but in between, somewhere between tea and high tea and breakfast. So on that note, I'll just quickly start. Very unconventional slide, you must have seen this. And I'll connect the dots as I go on. This slide has top 10 companies by market cap. And there is a point which Mr. Grover rightly mentioned in terms of shareholder value, growth, etc. Right? So there is a reason why I have this slide here. And this is latest, I think, a month old maybe. Any reason why these companies are here or why am I showing this slide here? Guys, please feel free to just raise your hand, answer so that we enjoy this session rather than it being a monologue. Any reason why you see this slide here? Any correlation to Kaizen, manufacturing, operational excellence? Sorry? Right? So 9 to 10 almost are tech companies who have tech at core. Second reason is a lot of these companies offer services to industries, right? Say it can be a CEAT, Tata Motors, Cummins, so on and so forth. NVIDIA, we use VMs, GPUs in our day-to-day operations, right? Microsoft, of course, today everybody is talking about Copilot, etc. Amazon, hyperscaler, we use AWS, right? Cloud services. So the reason I wanted to have this slide here was because we, as companies are leveraging their services, we are getting more and more digitalized. These companies are also growing, right? And that's the reason you see these companies on the top 10 where companies like us on the industry side are the consumers of services, right? And on the right, if you see, I have a few companies and few taglines, just to emphasize on a simple point that 5 years back, right, the entire industry was focused on product. Product was at the center. Today, things have changed. What is today at the center? Sorry? So today, who is at the center? Customer, right? So that there's a paradigm shift. There's a paradigm shift that has happened. All strategies, all the marketing collaterals, your go-to-market, everything is centered towards your customer's unmet need. And companies who have successfully done that, brought in the required digital disruption, they are the ones who have seen success, they have evolved with time. This is a number from the recent IDC report, which says AI will generate a close to 20 trillion economy by 2030. And again, I thought I'll just simplify this in how we use it and how we understand this slide, right? So again, 3 different ways in which this contribution will come from. One is a direct means where companies are leveraging services like a CEAT again, or Godrej, Cummins, who are leveraging in or investing in AI services. Second is the indirect consumption, right, where companies like an AWS, right, or a GCP, hyperscalers are providing us the services. That's the indirect way. And the third bucket is largely the tertiary, where people like you and me are consuming AI in our day-to-day household services. So all these 3 means together will represent close to 3.5% of the global GDP when we talk about AI alone. That's the impact, right? Again, a statistics and point to really think on, and we spoke about value, customer value. We spoke about how companies are really evaluating their success, right? So every dollar spent in AI solution is going to give me a return of $4.6 by 2030. In CEAT, we have a 1+3 philosophy. 1 is your growth. The rest 3 is my employee cost, gross margin, and OPEX. OPEX here is not operational excellence, this is operational expenditure, right? 3 years back, when we used to calculate the ROI of any digital investment, we used to have the benefits as a numerator, and the denominator is to have all the investment that has really gone into it, right? In the world of AI, that definition has got slightly changed, with the denominator has a lot of elements of computing cost, cloud cost, and a multiplier factor of success rate, right? Not every AI initiative that we embark on is a successful one. There is a lot of nitty-gritties, and again, to Sir's point, one of the slides actually explained, unless you have the basics or the foundation right, or the data structures right, there is no point embarking on an AI journey or a digital journey. You need to have your processes right, you need to have the data fields mapped in order to really get the full value of any AI initiative. We might see a lot of vendors, partners with amazing solutions, right? You look at it, you fall for them, and you say, okay, let us start this. Midway, you realize that you don't have the data sets to really embark on that journey to see the outcome, and that's the reason people say, we started the journey today where you might see the ROI in the next 2 years. This is one of the reasons, right? Have tried to lay down a few areas where we really see a lot of top-line revenue optimization when we really get onto the digital journey, in terms of faster processing speed, in terms of reducing redundancies, again, kind of helping you keep your storage cost low, right? Because largely the cost buckets are cloud computing cost, cloud storage cost. So when you have increased data accessibility, when you have reduced duplications, you have removed inconsistencies, will eventually lead you to cost reduction. And in terms of when you have more data, when you have more hyper-personalization, when you can actually target your key customers, that is where you do better in terms of revenue growth. So these are some of the pillars which we can work on when we embark on the data journey, when we embark on a AI journey to start with. A quick graph showing the manufacturing sector really heads on with a lot of forward-looking industries like BFSI or CPG retail in terms of adopting AI, right? So we see that manufacturing is one of the key leaders in terms of adoption of AI when we talk about. Little busy slide, but I will try to simplify this. Again, how do we really use AI when we talk about the two key levers of growth and operational efficiency, right? As I said, there are various areas, but I have tried to highlight the key ones in terms of when we have data, the right data in correct shape and format, we have high potential, we exactly know who are my high potential customers, who I can target to, right? How do I nudge my sales reps so that they do better in their day-to-day operations by meeting the right customers, by pitching in the right SKUs, and to optimize sales strategies at the best. Marketing and pricing. Most of the time, we don't have the data to really do a triangulation in terms of my, say, dealer landing price versus customer's propensity to purchase something. You don't arrive at that point, right, where we normally try to play safe on the pricing part so that my volumes don't get impacted. But if I exactly know how can I really fluctuate my volumes for certain key SKUs which are very high on demand, I can still go ahead and increase the price without impacting volumes. That is again a kind of AI ML simulation or what is simulation that I can do with when I have the data in place. Same goes with customer experience. These days we do a lot of social listening to understand what is happening with my brand image, what customers are talking about. So you exactly gather a lot of feedback, you work on customer feedback, voice of customers to then curate products and act on the negative feedbacks that we have received so that you improve the product cycle. Distribution network again, you are streamlining your order fulfillment, optimizing inventories, again impacting your operational excellence. On the right-hand side, largely you see supply chain, demand sensing is a key parameter where you exactly know through data how you can optimize your sales in terms of the right optimum inventories to be stored, right forecasting to be done so that we don't produce more, right? Manufacturing, there are a lot of areas of scrap reduction, your overall OE efficiency. People fight, we have a lot on the attrition where AI is being used with data to understand your right candidates, right talent. And finance, of course, what we used to call as RPA. Today, RPA++ is AI where we have a lot of automations to reduce your day-to-day mundane work. So these are some of the areas where AI has really, companies are using AI in terms of increasing the operational efficiency and productivity. Moving on to the journey of Industry 4.0 to 5.0. When we talk about Industry 4.0, we had a lot of discussions around data, interconnected systems, processes, data sets. When we talk about Industry 5.0, we have two new additional elements of sustainability, human centricity, and something which we call as cobots. What is cobots, guys? Any guesses?
A robot with AI-enabled robot.
Okay. What does it do?
I have seen in an exhibition where robot, it does what it does. Cobot, it understands the context and then accordingly it reacts.
Anybody else? Collaborative robots.
It assists the human beings to do their work.
Thank you. Right. So these are basically robots who work alongside with human beings, especially at shop floor to enhance the productivity and you're reducing the risk to safety. Safety-wise, they act as safety barriers to very high-end machineries where there is a high risk. So we deploy these cobots. Again, new to the Indian setup. The Western world has seen a few examples, but we are getting there slowly, steadily. And of course, the transition from 4.0 to 5.0 is being led through IoT, which has been there for some time. AI, we are speaking about AI in our day-to-day routine. Cloud computing, and of course, cybersecurity to help our internal systems completely safe from external threat. Again, a recent slide where I gotten a few stuff from McKinsey, IDC, Gartner, in the Gartner conference, which happened in Jan this year. A lot of things are known to you. Two things which I wanted to highlight in this slide is a term that I heard on Foresight Factory. Any guesses what this is? Sorry? Okay. Doing what?
Like I have some past data, based on that I can able to have a better prediction for the tomorrow and how I can able to prepare for that.
Thank you. Can you just take it ahead? What you said and a digital twin. That is a digital twin, what you rightly mentioned. So what's the difference between a digital twin and a Foresight Factory? You are 90% there. Any guess as to what he said, if anybody can build on? To read exactly what he said, right, in terms of expecting what might happen in future and reacting to that change event, right, is what digital twin helps us with. Foresight Factory takes this concept to the next level by saying, understanding that change event, what is the action that a company needs to take? You take that action in a virtual simulative world without doing that action, and what will be the result of that action is also known to us. Example, festival time, and I'm taking again example of a tire company. Festival time, we get demand from our OEMs, Maruti, Tata Motors, Toyota, so on and so forth. And we are not sure whether my production will be at 100%, right, to meet the demand-supply gap. So I go to this Foresight Factory environment where I proactively shut down 2 of my production lines and see what's the impact without actually doing it. So this helps me prepare for a situation which might happen, a worse situation. I'm prepared now, right? So that my end-to-end operation, starting from my demand planning all the way to distribution, is taken care of. So I like this concept and I thought, okay, I'll just share this. Purposeful production. The term is self-explanatory. What does this mean?
Whatever is really need for the customer, we need to produce.
Thank you. And how does that happen? What is core? What is required for that? Data, right? So what I'm trying to emphasize is the backbone is solid foundation of data, right? Whether you talk about your supply chain, whether you talk about your manufacturing operations, if you have the right data, there is no reason why I need to produce more and create environmental burden. Again, linking my point of Industry 5.0 of sustainability, right? Metaverse is again, it was there for quite some time. Today, we are using metaverse in terms of training our employees, in terms of testing, and in terms of deploying, so basically giving the experience to shop floor people even before they deal with heavy machineries. Experience Hub, what is this? This table is answering a lot, guys. People, backbenchers. After this is high tea. 15 more minutes, max. What is Experience Hub? Any guesses? Again, the name is self-explanatory if you just think a little.
All the knowledge is compiled into one database.
For whom largely? Who's the user set for this? Why do we do this? Again, customers largely. So for us, for example, right, I would invite OEMs to come to my R&D factory and give them a simulated world where I'll show them how a tire is being manufactured, right? What goes into creation of a tire? How can they see through a visual image or a 3D image the rolling resistance part, or say a tire behaving in a very extreme climate versus a snow ice climate, right? How my rolling resistance, how my mileage is being impacted. So all that is being created in a simulative world for my OEMs to give them a feeling how we are doing this day in, day out, right? Please.
This is more on the digital or a physical space, what you are trying to do?
Physical space I'm talking about. This is a physical space where we are created simulative things.
Like in Amazon, we have
Exactly, same. Replicas, small replicas. Again, coming to a very core part, and how do we define a smart factory? Simple, plain layman terms.
the factory which can able to think and perform. As per me, it's a smart factory.
Thank you.
And then
Sorry? Data driven. So I think combine both the answers. This table deserves some round of applause, guys, please. They have been actively participating. So a factory which has systems, machines, people, all talking to each other or connected through data so that the factory can self-optimize, self-correct, and adapt itself to the production scenarios, right? Which we explained. Adverse scenarios, predictive scenarios is a smart factory. Many a times we wonder what are the key KPIs which normally we collect at a factory level, right? And I have just tried to list them out in terms of if we really go ahead to create a truly smart factory, what can be the potential revenue impact or bottom line impact to some of these things, which is like reducing scrap, optimized capacity, in terms of reducing the labor and inventory cost. So just a glimpse. I just wanted to showcase what are the key parameters which get impacted in terms of the different core pillars that we have. And again, the percentages might vary depending on your maturity levels. So operationalizing a smart factory, right? So today, as I said, in the year 2022, Halol plant got a lighthouse status, after which it took us 2 years to get Chennai the lighthouse status. How do we do that? Time and again, right? It takes little rigor. That is where I've tried to showcase a process, right? Where starting from the vision all the way to creating a proof of concept, having the right set of matrices to be measured at the shop floor, identifying the right use cases which can be viable, which can be scalable, which can be profitable to the company. How do we do that proof of concept and then go to the industrialization and sustenance phase? So this is a very, I would say, a process that we follow with each and every use case, right starting from the ideation phase, and we involve, I mean, since we are talking about AI, we're talking about digitalization, one of the key factors is change management, right? Top-down influence is absolutely required to sustain an initiative. But if you don't have the bottoms-up approach where the people at the shop floor who will be using these solutions, you will be facing difficulties in terms of adoption. There will be huge challenges in terms of adoption. So until unless you involve the right set of people from business while you are embarking on a digital journey or a digital AI use case for a manufacturing plant, it's very difficult that it will sustain. You might create that, you might gift it to them, but it will fall flat after a few months, right? So this is the journey which we follow, and after we see it's really, really reaping the benefits, we kind of take it to the scale-up phase and then cross-deploy different plants. So in the starting I said, right, we have to light out factories. So people say to fly you need a runway. So for us, this is CEAT's journey, where from 2015 to 2019, we laid the foundations of data, started with the MES, PLC, SCADA on the manufacturing side. We started pilots with IIoT. In 2021, we had a complete full-fledged digital team, which are largely from IITs, BITS Pilani, BITs, NITs. A good combination of data engineers, data scientists, business translators. 2022, Halol plant got the lighthouse status, and just last year, Chennai plant got the lighthouse status. So this is our journey of digital, which didn't happen in a day. It took us some time. We learned through our failures, implemented that, imbibed the culture of fail fast, learn fast, and we reached there. Now moving on to a few use cases I wanted to show in the videos. Before that, this is what we follow on a day-to-day basis, right? This is our typical structure of problem solving. So where we have these 3 layers of Kaizen, QIP, and transformative layer. Kaizen are all day-to-day quick wins, largely focusing on employee skill building, because today, in an era where we want each and every department to be change champions of AI and digital, you cannot live without skill building, right? So that is the first layer. We are focusing on small day-to-day improvements, largely building digital skill gaps in people. Second layer is my QIP or problem solving, structured problem solving, where we are trying to focus on solving complex business problems with medium business impact. And the third layer is transformative layer, where we focus on, say, 2 to 3 initiatives which are either changing the way we do business in terms of new revenue model, new business model, largely focusing on, say, creating achieving significant competitive advantage for us. So these are the 3 layers, and all the initiatives that we do will fall either one of them. I'll talk about the initiatives quickly. I have 3 initiatives, and I'll show a video also. So one of the asks for us was to become sustainable and as a tire company, move from carbon to silica as a compound for tire making, right? The moment we shifted from carbon to silica, that impacted my batch to batch cycle time, right? So batch to batch cycle time for us meant a lot of energy consumption. In the tire manufacturing world, there are 2 key levers of cost. One is my RMC, raw material cost, which comprises 60 to 65%. The remaining second bucket is all energy. So we need to be energy efficient by all means, right? So that is where we actually tested a lot of process parameters, temperature parameters, energy parameters, and built a in-house gradient boosting model to reduce the cycle to cycle time fluctuations, helping us get a 58% reduction in variable time and a 9% mixer output efficiency. And this took us 6 months to build completely in-house, first of its kind for a tire manufacturing company. And we are seeing good results. And now we are cross-deploying it across all other plants. I'll show a video in a minute. Boss.ai, this we created in the last 6 months to the point which I mentioned in terms of disparate data sources in manufacturing, right? Which largely deters us or prohibits us to make real-time decisions, right? There is often a difficulty in establishing the relationship between various events. That is where we deployed Boss.ai. It's kind of a root cause analysis tool where something which used to take 3 to 4 days to understand where the problem has occurred in terms of reducing my overall equipment efficiency, OEE, which is a key parameter in manufacturing, to getting that down to 15 to 20 minutes now. And third is on the R&D side, example. For us, again, while we were thinking of expansion to different geographies, one of the key factors was creating more and more new SKUs in the shortest lead time. And one of the key factors for us to create more SKUs is the die design of a tire, right? And the die design of a tire has a few bottlenecks in terms of a lot of process parameters, material parameters to work on, leading to the field testing time, which is 30% of my new production development time factor, right? So this 30% of my new production development lead time goes into field testing. So we again applied AI/ML to really get that field testing time down by playing around with 18 plus parameters on machine side and material parameters to get my trial reduction time lower by 67%. I'll quickly show a video.
Welcome to the future of manufacturing intelligence at CEAT. Introducing Boss.ai, the revolutionary Gen AI platform that transforms your data into powerful insights. Boss.ai lets you ask complex manufacturing questions and delivers instant, actionable insights with ease. Dive deeper into your operations and make informed decisions faster than ever before. Go beyond surface-level data with Boss.ai's drill-down capabilities. Effortlessly uncover hidden trends and analyze patterns in real time. Boss.ai helps you make proactive decisions, simplifying complex operations for quick impact. With Boss.ai, dive deeper into data like never before. Compare metrics, visualize trends, and unlock insights that drive excellence. Boss.ai turns complexity into clarity for smarter decisions. With Boss.ai's unified platform, integrate insights across functions, boosting collaboration and efficiency. CEAT Digital presents Boss.ai, revolutionizing manufacturing intelligence with generative AI. Experience the future today.
This is the mixer one.
Our Halol plant faced a challenge. The rubber mixing process was getting slower as we shifted to high-performance silica-based tires. Silica enhances fuel efficiency and grip, but demands precise heat and timing control during mixing. To solve this, our team analyzed millions of data points on temperature, pressure, and energy, and built an AI-powered control system, a smart brain for the mixer. It monitors the process live, predicts what's next, and automatically adjusts speed, temperature, and silica loading. The result? Faster, smoother, and consistent batches. We boosted capacity by over 20 tons per day, improved efficiency, and cut delays. A true milestone in our Halol Vision 2026 towards a smarter, flexible, and sustainable manufacturing future.
Last slide that I have. We discussed right in the starting that before embarking on any AI-led initiative today, what are some of the key factors why the pilots don't reach to the end state of where we start realizing the value, right? And I've just tried to list a few factors where the understanding between the requirements is what we have as business owners and what the vendors delivers is not, most of the time is not very, very clear and in sync. Poor quality of data sets, which I have been emphasizing throughout my presentation. Unless we have the right data which can be consumed in the right formats, there is no point embarking on an AI journey. And the third most important thing is the infrastructure, right? Unless we have the right infrastructures in place, it's very, very difficult that we get the exact same value realization from these AI initiatives. On that note, thank you and wish you all the best. Happy to take any questions if you have. Please.
You mentioned that your journey started in 2015.
Right.
And the initial years you were doing some trial and errors and there were some failures. How important was the backing of your leadership at CEAT? And how important was the backing of your company's leadership during that time? And what CEAT did to improve the morale of the people down the line when they were not getting the results as expected? Thank you.
I think I mentioned a point in terms of bottoms-up approach and top-down. Where is bottoms-up required and where is top-down required? So top-down approach is definitely required when we want to sustain, get traction, right? Most of the time when you launch a new initiative, right, it can be anything. Forget getting a lighthouse status. Lighthouse status was something which is globally recognized fame. If I talk about any simple initiative, if I want that to be sustainable, that want to see traction in that, I need my top leadership to be signing up for it, right, on a day-to-day basis by passing on a message that this is crucial for my company, so please come ahead, join us in this journey. Bottoms up, if you get the top down, is not sufficient enough. Then you need the people who are actually the user set for this specific initiative to be completely aligned on a day-to-day basis where you involve them right from the ideation phase, helping them understand how this will really help them change their ways of working, what benefits will they get, then you take it ahead, create, experiment, handhold, deliver, and lead them to lead that example, right? So it was a mix of both, I would say. Failures we have seen, as I said, we have a culture where we really, really appreciate the learnings from failures. There are sessions where people come in to share their learnings from failures so that we don't repeat those mistakes. So the culture of fail fast, learn fast has been there. We have seen leadership really happily imbibing that. So it was a journey where we have seen downs, we have seen ups, and finally reached that level. Please.
So what did you do different? Thank you. Hi, I'm Prasanna from Unidesign. My question is, what did you do different in order to bring the data for AI from the various stakeholders so that you are able to like implement it the way you want?
See, today people are talking about data lake, right? So data lake actually solves the problem that you rightly mentioned, where, for example, if I were to solve a problem on warranty claims is an issue for us, right? Which is a huge OPEX item. Now to really analyze the warranty claim as a problem, I need to have data from manufacturing, I need to have data from my sales and marketing, where promotions are happening, I need to have data from my service team who takes care of the warranty part. But today, since the data sets are all siloed, I don't have that event relationships established. So people normally, when you don't embark on the data lake journey, they create small data lakes in silos to solve specific problems. That's the reason, if you see today, when you have an external vendor work on an AI use case, they have 2-3 layers, right? Data is one of the layers. Then you build a semantic and MDM layer. Semantic is nothing but a data dictionary, right? To say, okay, say your warranty claims is coming from table A lying in some XYZ database. This relationship is not created at an enterprise level. Normally, when you solve a use case, people come in, the vendors come in, they spend time, effort in creating and solving specific data lakes, small pockets of data lakes to solve that specific use case. Then when you try to leverage that specific data lake for other functions, it's of no use, right? And you repeat this time and again every time to build the semantic layer, because when you deploy any AI use case, a significant cost goes in creating the semantic layer and the MDM, which is the master data management part, right? And to avoid doing it time and again, today people are investing, which is a big investment in terms of creating a data lake. So initially when we didn't have that, and not only us, everybody tries to get those data in a platform, create an ODS layer, and then allow sharing of data with external parties. Please.
Hi, my name is Apurva. The question was, you also mentioned in many of your cases about machine learning. Dr. Ajay also mentioned about that LLM.
Right.
So in our company, suppose I have the data. Now I want to start this process of ML or building LLM. How do we do that?
Good question. And again, so that's the reason I said today, we are in an era of low code, no code. Please have a seat. Today we are in an era of low code, no code, right? There are, in a recent interview, Mark Benioff, the CEO of Salesforce, right? He mentioned that best of my tech guys, right, might lose their job because today, thanks to Anthropic and Claude, the generation of the coding is completely out of the window. All you need to understand is the business parlance, right? And again, sir used the term of value stream mapping. So if you have the value stream mapping and you know which are those non-productive tasks that is creating Muri, you actually then apply that concept and create a code. So today, creating a Python code is not a big deal, right? Who doesn't understand R and Python can also easily create a low-code, no-code based agent, right? So I would say if you have the right data set, you need to sit with the business users to identify, forget digital. Digital comes later on. You need to first identify what are the process changes in the as-is and to-be scenario, what you would like to change, what will bring about that change, and what are the data sets is required to bring about that change. And then you, through prompt engineering, you can actually create agents which can solve this problem. So I would say the first step is making the larger organization aware of the skills that are required to understand which parts of the day-to-day problem can be solved through AI. So basic AI knowledge, basic digital literacy in terms of AI is a mandatory, is a must-have across levels, not only say mid or junior level, but across senior levels. In fact, to an extent, there is a concept called reverse mentoring, right, where you assign subject matter expertise to senior executives of the company so that they ensure that what you are learning is actually being transferred and given through. So I start small, I would say. Start small, have set of people go through some good AI courses, ask them to come back, conduct teach back sessions for larger organization, create change champions who can then take these messages, build the use cases, identify problems, and then build on. And again, there will be certain advanced areas where you might need a vendor support as well, right?